Hi, Elliot. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm doing well, thanks. During today's session, we will be co-creating a professional service agreement. Do you happen to know what that is by chance?
Yes, I have an idea.
Perfect. So as you know, this document will kind of outline your goals and responsibilities and structures of our work together in order to better support your professional treatment and your recovery. So first things first, we will start off by kind of identifying some of your problem areas or your areas of concerns that may not necessarily be problems in order to develop a goal. So with that being said, would you be open to sharing, what feels most pressing to you or most important to you right now in this current moment?
I would say work is just very overwhelming. It causes me a lot of stress. I'm a sales manager at a car dealership and I work 60-hour work weeks. And when it comes to the weekend, I have no motivation to spend time with my family or my friends. I don't ever want to go out. I don't ever want to do anything but just be at home. I don't want to be bothered, and it's causing issues with my marriage. My wife is complaining about it often because I don't ever want to go anywhere, and work is just it always leaves me very anxious and restless, and I'm always so busy, and it's just causing me marital issues at this point.
I'm so sorry to hear that. That sounds like it is very stressful. And it sounds like you're taking on a lot, both not only at home but at work as well. So let's go ahead and try to develop a goal based off the information that you told me. So when we're discussing recovery goals, it's important to consider a specific format called SMART goals that kind of help set the proper goal kind of outline. Have you ever heard of the SMART goals format?
Yes, it's specific, measurable, attainable, and what's the last two?
Yes, realistic and time bound. Very good. So these goals or this format helps us to make goals that are specifically tailored to your recovery, but aren't broad enough to be used in any given circumstance, right? So have you ever heard of corpse goals?
No, what's that?
Corpse goals are essentially goals that can be completed by non-living entities. So essentially, it's a goal that that can be achieved by a corpse. Such goals could include, I want to be more quiet, or I want to be more vocal, I want to stay out of trouble, right? Those goals are too broad and could be applicable to anybody, regardless of their circumstance. The SMART goal format helps us to tailor your goals specific to your needs, your concerns, and any problems that you may be experiencing for you to ultimately receive the best and most effective outcome. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. So, based off of that information that you told me, what would you think a good goal would be? Something that you can work on that's kind of attainable, it wouldn't cause too much stress, something that's realistic, that's really applicable to your circumstance, and something that we could work on together.
I say my main goal would probably be to create better work-life balance. Um, by just managing my stress and to help me get that motivation back on the weekends.
Okay. So, in your own words, right, we can say that you express a desire to create a better work-life balance.
Yes.
And then what are some challenges or some barriers that you may be facing that hinders you from achieving that goal?
I would say since the dealership is always so busy, I'm definitely overworked. Like I stated, I work 60-hour weeks, and it's just very being in my managerial position is kind of a challenge to balance work and life because I have such a crucial position for the dealership and for the company, so it requires me to work a lot of hours.
Okay, got it. So we got your goal in here, and we also got some of the barriers that are kind of hindering you from achieving that goal. Now, you also said that in order to create a better work-life environment and a balance, you would like to kind of eliminate some of the work stresses that you're kind of experiencing. Is that correct?
Hmm.
Okay. So With this next section, with interventions, this is kind of the objective that you would be taking in order to, the steps that you'll be taking in order to achieve that desired goal and that desired outcome, okay?
Okay.
So let's take your example. Let's take your situation for example. So your ultimate goal is to create a better work-life balance, and your current intervention would be to kind of eliminate some of the stressors that you are facing at work. What are some ways that you can eliminate some of that stress? That could be coping skills, right? Deep breathing, journaling. It could be speaking with coworkers or having a support system. It could be engaging in religious or spiritual activities. It can be anything that you can see as a means to help you achieve that goal.
I would say deep breathing could definitely help, or just taking a moment to just step away and just gather my thoughts, give myself a break, and just be able to breathe to help with that burnout. I also could do better with assigning tasks instead of just trying to do everything myself at work. I have other managers that work there with me. I have a lot of employees who I can distribute and assign tasks to help make it easier for me during the week. So I could probably just assign tasks and just distribute my workload or help with my workload so it's not too much for me.
Okay. I think that's a great idea. So you will engage in deep breathing exercises as well as engage more with task delegation. Perfect. Alrighty. So moving down, as we go down this list, so here in this section, I kind of just listed out some of the roles, the role between me as a social worker and the role of you as the client, and this is kind of what is to be expected when we are working towards a recovery goal, right? So you, of course, are the service recipient, and you are the active participant in your treatment planning and your recovery goals, right? Myself, I am the social worker. I will kind of guide you and support you in achieving your goals and provide that emotional stability as well as any connection to resources that you may need to assist you with achieving those goals. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Any questions so far about creating your goal, your interventions, or your specific role when it comes to attaining your treatment goal?
No questions so far.
Perfect. Okay. This next section, labeled conditions, is just essentially listing that your treatment goal, right, your recovery goal can be revised at any point, right? So most professionals, most social workers consider recovery goals to be living documents and they are to be updated rather frequently. So if you have any changes in your financial status, your work, any evolving interest or what have you, you are always more than welcome to go ahead and update, add, change, or revise your treatment plan at any point during our we're working together. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so with that being said, this next section is kind of the time limit for when you would like to achieve this goal. Okay? So, initial progress towards your recovery goals will be reviewed within a certain time frame. So, when it comes to intervention, those objectives, we like to kind of review them prior to the achievement of your overarching goal. So, with that being said, how long do you think is an appropriate time for you to work with me in order to achieve that goal? So that could be, you know, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. What feels right for you?
I would say probably about 2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months. And so, with that being said, we can review your progress towards that recovery goal um, every 2 weeks or so. How does that sound?
That sounds fine.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and we will review your treatment goals every 2 weeks, within 2 weeks. Alrighty. And so with that being said, for a couple of months or so, how often would you like to meet? So this would be kind of on a weekly, bi-weekly basis.
I think once a week is fine.
Once a week? Okay. Perfect. So we can meet on a weekly basis. And then, of course, our typical duration of services is usually an hour. Does that work with you?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. And then I do see that we are engaging in online telehealth. Would you like to keep it that way, or would you like to come in person to the clinic?
In person is fine.
Okay. Perfect. Alrighty. And we'll go ahead and we'll start services today.
Okay.
And then we will also end services for, let's see, what would be an appropriate time frame? You said 2 to 3 months. Are you thinking more 2 months, maybe more 3 months?
Maybe like 2.5 months. So we could probably do today's the October 22nd. So maybe like the second week of January.
Second week of January. Okay. So we can do that. Let's see. Let me pull up my calendar really quickly. So, okay. So like January 12th?
Yes, that's
Okay.
fine.
Perfect. And then that will give us a total of 12 sessions. Okay. This next session, excuse me, is your evaluation. So this is just saying that your progress will be monitored through regular check-ins, right? Through my notes, through goal tracking, self-reports, and measures like that. And formal review will occur every 2 weeks. Okay. And then ultimately, once January 12th comes around, then we will conduct a final evaluation to see if you were able to achieve that recovery goal. Okay,
Okay.
perfect. Next section, fees. You don't have to worry about this. All fees will be provided at no cost to you through our agency. Okay,
Okay.
perfect. Next section is cancellations. So, as far as cancellations, we just request at least a 24-hour notice, and then we'll go ahead and get you scheduled as soon as possible, okay?
Perfect.
Perfect. And this last section is kind of your requirements of mandated reporting and informed consent. So everything that we discussed during this session will remain mostly confidential unless you provide a signed release of information or if there are any court mandated things that the court may ask of us from the agency. Outside of that,
Okay.
if you happen to mention anything that may have to do with self-harm or harm to others, any abuse or neglect, I am legally obligated to report that. Okay?
Sounds fun.
Okay. So, with all of that being said, how do you feel about this service contract?
Everything looks fine to me.
Okay, perfect. So I will go ahead and get you a copy of this so you can go ahead and sign it, and then we can start our services at our next session, okay?
Thank you.
Perfect. Yes, thank you.